Hilchas Talmud Torah Perek Shvi'i, the seventh and final chapter, Be'ezrat Hashem, of the laws of Torah study. Yesterday we started the subject of nidui, which means that sometimes a person for doing something wrong, especially for embarrassing a Torah scholar, is ostracized, kicked out of the community. Today we're going to see a little more about that, and also what are the laws of somebody who goes into nidui. Halacha Aleph, Chacham Zaken B'chochma, a wise man who is old in wisdom. That means he's both, according to the commentaries. He's both old and he's wise. So he's an extra special man. V'chein Nasi o Av Beit Din. And also the Nasi or the Av Beit Din, these are, as we saw yesterday, the two top people in the Sanhedrin. The Nasi is the highest level, Av Beit Din is second in command. So these are three very special people. Shesarach, if any of them acted in an embarrassing way, they did something unfitting for their stature to do, and it deserved nidui. It was one of those 24 things that we saw yesterday that you get to be ostracized for. Ein menadin oto b'farhasya le'olam. These three people, we never put them into ostracism publicly. Yesterday we learned that a regular person, the Bet Din, puts him into nidui barabim. They announce him in public. These three people, you never put them into ostracism in public. Elaim came, asa ki Yeravam ben Nevat v'chaverav. Unless he acted like Yeravam. Yeravam was a very bad person. So the commentaries wonder which bad thing we're referring to over here. Some people say he made Chilul Hashem. He stopped people from going to the Beit HaMikdash. Other people say Hu chatav v'hechti et harabim. He did sins and he also made others sin, because he built a temple for himself in Shevet Dan, where there was idols over there, and he made people sin. So the point is, if they were extremely bad, somehow, he split the kingdom. Yeah. So if these three people did something extremely negative, that's the only time we can publicly ostracize them. But other than that, we keep it all private. With one,
you don't mean Nasi in the modern people.
no, not the president. Nasi means the highest man on the Sanhedrin. Aval, now the Rambam adds something parenthetically. Aval keshechata she'ar chataot. All we're talking about now is nidui, ostracism. If he did another sin, let's say he did something really problematic from the Torah, Mechalel Shabbat, something like that. Malkino to b'tzin'ah. We give him whips, we give him lashes quietly. If he did something which deserves lashes, we do it modestly. Shene'emar, as it says, v'chashalta hayom, you will stumble by day, v'chashal gam navi imcha laila, but the navi, the prophet, will only stumble with you at night, which means, afal pisha kashal, even though this prophet, this great person, stumbled, kasehu kalayla, you should cover it up like the night. So you don't take care of a chacham publicly. You take care of him privately. Even when it comes to other sins. Now the Rambam returns to the nidui. How do you do nidui privately? The omrim lo hi kaved v'shev bevetcha. We tell him, keep your honor, stay at home. Yeah, don't show your face too much. That's the way we take care of him. That's how most commentaries learn. That these last 5 words are going back to the beginning of the halacha about nidui. There's one person who says that it's actually a reference to the last line, that you don't actually give him whips. You never give a chacham malkin. You only tell him, but the bottom line is, part of the way of treating a Talmid Chacham with respect is that you don't publicize when he does something wrong, unless it's super bad. And so to any Talmid Chacham, not just the Nasi or the Av Beit Din or the fancy guys. Any Torah sage who was obligated to get nidui, he did one of the 24 things that gets him ostracized. Asur lebeit din likpotz ulenadoto b'mehera. It's forbidden for the court to jump at the opportunity and quickly put him in ostracism. Ela borchin midavar zeh v'nishmatin mimenu. They have to run away from it, slip away, try not to be involved. V'chasidei hachachamim hayu mishtabchim. There was the pious sages. They used to praise themselves. They were proud of the fact shelo nimnu me'olam lenadot talmid chacham, that they never were part of the number of people who voted to put somebody into nidui, into ostracism. If the same guy, the same chacham, needed to be whipped for doing something wrong against the Torah biblical law, they were happy to be on the board that would vote to punish this Talmid Chacham. But when it comes to nidui, to ostracism, it's a very extreme thing. They wouldn't want to be part of it. And even rabbinic lashes, when the rabbis imposed that the person should be whipped, they also were on the board to vote him in. But again, for nidui, for ostracism, they never went in, because it's super extreme. Halacha bet. V'keitzad hu hanidui. What is the process? How do you go about ostracizing someone? Omer, the court or the person who's doing it should say, Ploni yehei b'shanta. So-and-so should be in ostracism. That's the Aramaic word for nidui. According to the Rambam, nidui and shanta are the same thing. Other commentaries say it's different, but the Rambam holds it's the same thing. The im niduhu befanav, if you were putting him into ostracism in his face, you were telling him about it. Omer lo, you tell him, ploni zeh b'shamta. This person, so and so, should be in ostracism. But if a person is put into cherem, this is called a ban, an excommunication. It's even worse. We're going to see in a minute. It's even worse than nidui. Omer lo, you use a different language. You tell him, ploni mochoram. This person is excommunicated. Not b'shamta, you say mochoram. Ve'arur, if the Beit Din uses the expression cursed, if they say this person is cursed, bo Allah, bo shvu'ah, bo nidui. It could be used for a curse, it could be used for an oath, and it could also be used for nidui. So even though the technical way to say it is ploni yehe b'shamta, but if the Beit Din would say ploni arur, this person is cursed, that also implies that he is ostracized. We're going to see in a minute. There's a couple of... The cherem is more extreme. He's more banned from the community. But the Rambam will detail it. Halacha Gimel, the Ketzad Matirin Hanidui, Oy HaCherem, how do we undo, how do we permit, how do we lift the ban of excommunication? Omer lo, you tell the person, Sharui lach umachul lach. It is permitted to you, it is forgiven to you. Some commentaries say one is enough. Either one you say. Some commentaries say no, you have to say both. Sharui lach umachul lach. If they were lifting the ban and he wasn't there, Omer lo, you say about him, Ploni, Sharui lo, umachul lo. That person, it's permitted to him and forgiven to him. But if he's there, you say lach. You are permitted, you are forgiven. Commentaries note here that even if a person was put into a nidui just for a time period, let's say Beit Din said, for 30 days you're going to be ostracized. At the end, it doesn't just go away by itself. They have to say, Sharui lach umachul lach. Nidui is so powerful that it doesn't just go away by itself. For example, if you're a Nazir, you take on a vow for 30 days. After 30 days, you're done. Finished.
Can you be in a
Here,
group
no.
for life?
Yes. We'll see about that. Halacha dalet. Mahu haminhag sheyinhag haminudeh ba'atzmo v'sheno hagin imo. What's the custom? What's the behavior that a person who was ostracized has to behave and that others should behave with him? So here's the basic thing. Minudeh. Somebody who was ostracized, asur lesaper ulechabes ka'avel. He can't take a haircut, he can't do laundry, like a mourner. Kol yemei niduyo. All the days of his ostracism period. Ve'ein mezamnin alav. He can't be included in a zimun for benching. V'lo kololino to ba'asara l'chol davar shetzarich asara. He can't be part of the minyan for anything which requires 10 people. Davening, kriyat Torah, kedusha, you have it. V'lo yoshvini bo barba amot. You don't sit in his space, 6 feet from him. Lo miyot Yehudi, but from the community. We're going to see now. Aval shonehu la'achirim v'shonin lo. He can still be a Torah teacher. He can still teach people Torah. They can still teach him. Just have to be at a distance. V'niskar v'socher. He could be hired for work. He could hire others for work. But you can't be in his space and you can't include him for holy things. V'im meit b'nidui. If he died in his state of being ostracized. Beit din sholchin umanichin ever al arono. The Beit Din sends and puts a stone onto his coffin, kolomar, as if to say, shehein rogminoto, that they're stoning him, lefishu muvdal min hatzibur, because he was separated from the community. And when you stone somebody to death, so it brings them back in. When a person does an avera so extreme that he deserves a death penalty, when he was killed, it would be kapara for him. So this person who was put into nidui, separated from the community, when he dies, they stone him. Figuratively, they stone him. So now he's back in. But certainly, just because you achieved forgiveness, but you don't treat him normally. You don't eulogize him. You don't escort his coffin. You don't give him a levaya. If he died in nidui, that's it. He's dead. I'm not sure. In the Gemara, there's 2 or 3 famous cases of nidui, which the commentaries discuss based on the Rambam over here, how exactly it worked. There was Rabbi Eliezer ben Hurkanus was put into nidui. Travanei get, yeah. Absolutely. Person doesn't want to give a get, they put him into ostracism. Halacha hey, yoter alav hamocharam. More extreme than this is the person who was excommunicated. This halacha daled is for nidui, basic level. But if you were excommunicated, the next level, you have more chumrot. She'eno shoneh la'achirim ve'en shonin lo. He cannot teach anybody Torah, nobody can teach him. Aval shonehu la'atzmo. He should still learn Torah, he's still a Jew. Shelo yishkach talmudo, so he shouldn't forget his learning. But in relationships, he can't be in relationship with anybody. He can't be hired out for work. He can't hire others for work. We don't do business dealings with him. Ve'en mitaskinimo, we don't even deal with him at all. Ela me'at esek kedei parnasato, only a little bit to help him live. He still has to live, so we still take care of him, but no, not for hiring work, not for major business deals, just the bare minimum to get him through life. Halacha vav. Mishi yashav b'nidui shloshim yom. If somebody was in ostracism for 30 days, v'lo bikesh lahatiro, and he's not looking to get permitted. You see, he's not trying, he doesn't even care. Min nadinoto shniya. We put him into a second round of nidui, because typically it was for 30 days. After 30 days, we put him in again. Yashav shloshim yom acherim, v'lo bikesh lahatiro. Another 30 days go by, and you see he doesn't care, he's not trying to get it lifted. Machriminoto. Then we put him into the next level, excommunication. Because it's so severe, you're supposed to look to get out of it. You don't try to get out of it, so we're going to put you deeper in it. Halacha zayin, bekama matirin, hanidui or hacherem. How many people need to be there to permit a case of ostracism or cherem? The Rambam says bishlosha. Just 3 people, afilu hedyotot, even if they're common people, low lives. Regular people get them together, they become a beit din, and they can lift a ban. V'yachid mumche, matir hanidui o hacherem levado. If you have a single person who is super expert, he can permit a nidui or a cherem on his own. You don't need 3 people. V'yesh letalmid lahatir hanidui o hacherem afilu b'mkom harav. Even a student can, if he's big enough, smart enough, wise enough, he can permit a nidui or a cherem, even if the teacher was the one who made the cherem. The talmid, in other words, you don't have to be a great sage to be matir nidui. There's a big argument over here against the Rambam. The Ravid, who is like the primary arguer on the Rambam, he says, no, ken mispar hamenadin, ken mispar hamatirin. However many people were involved in making him into the ostracism ban, that's how many you need to get him out. If it was the beit din of 23 judges, you need 23 to get him out. If it was 3, 3. So he says, how could the Rambam write always 3? So he says, maybe it depends. It could be, if you're trying to permit him in middle of the time period, during the 30 days, then you need the same number of people. But after the time passes, just regular 3 people can go. Or he says maybe depends how many, who put him in to the nidui. If it was a single person, then you just need 3 people. If it was 3 people or rabbim, then you have to have the same number of people. The Rebbe has a letter where he writes, maybe it could be over here, the case was where he did shuvah. Like in the next halakha, we're going to see, he did shuvah, and the people who put him into nidui also want him to get out of it. Like they also forgave him. So then you only have to have 3. But if one of those Tanaim are lacking, then you have to have the same number of people. Notice there's no halacha chet, right? It goes straight from Zion to Tet. Right? Okay. So there's a lot of discussion about this. The Rebbe writes that he found a manuscript where in halacha aleph it's divided into 2. So bet should begin in the middle of aleph, and then if you add one number, you have chet. But some commentaries write that the letter chet is Rashi Tevot Cherem, excommunication. So in this chapter where we're talking about excommunication, we don't want to even allude to it in the halachot. We don't want to mention it, exactly. So halachat tet. Shlosha shenidu v'halchu lahem. 3 people put somebody into nidui, put somebody into ostracism, and they left. They left town. V'chazar zeh midavar shenidahu biglalo, and this person did tshuva from the thing that he was ostracized about. Ba'in shlosha achirim u'matirin lo. 3 other people come and are matir. They can lift it because 3 people put it in. They left, and we know he did tshuva, so 3 more can come. This kind of supports the Rebbe's assertion in the last halakha that if the person did tshuva, you only need 3 people. Halakha yud misha lo yada minidahu. If somebody doesn't know who put him into cherem, he knows he's ostracized, but he doesn't know who did it. Yelech lo etzel hanasi v'yatir lo niduyo. Go to the highest person, the highest Jewish position, which is the nasi, and he'll permit it. He'll lift it for you. Halakha yud aleph nidui al tnai. If somebody put you into ostracism on condition, he said, if you do this, you're going to be a nidui. Afilu al pi atzmo. Even if a person put himself into he was being machmer on himself. He said, if I do this act tomorrow, I'm going to go into ostracism. Tzarich hafara. You have to go and get it canceled. Even if the Tanai didn't come true, it's so severe that you have to do an act to take it off of you. Talmid chacham shenida atzmo. If a Torah sage put himself into ostracism, va'afilu nida atzmo al dat ploni. Even if he made it contingent on somebody else's consent. In other words, he said, I'm only going to permit myself if also Benny agrees. So you would think that now I have to get you to agree to take off the cherem. Cheesecake, motzei shvuos, toda rabba. Va'afilu al davar shechayav alav nidui. Even if I did it over something which I'm obligated to be ostracized about, harei zeh mefer la'atzmo. I can cancel it for myself. I don't need the consent of the other person because Talmid Chacham could put himself in and could take himself out. Halacha Yud Bet. Very interesting halacha we have now. Misha niduhu b'chalom. If somebody dreamt that they put him into cherem, he's in his bed at night, he had a dream. It's a nightmare. It's a real nightmare. And they ostracize him in the dream. Afilu yada minidahu. Even if he knows who it was, he can't just go to him and say, take care of it. Sarich asara b'nei adam sheshonin halachot lahatiro miniduyo. You need to have 10 people who are well versed in halacha to lift the ban. Seeing it in a dream is very powerful. Ve'im lo matzah. If you don't find 10 people who know halacha, toreach achareihem ad parsa. You have to try to find them. Go a parsa is about 2.3 miles. You have to go pretty far to find them. Lo matzah, if you still didn't find them, matirin lo afilu asara shashonin mishnah. You can even have 10 people who learn mishnah. They don't have to have halacha, but it has to be 10 people. Lo matzah, if you didn't find 10 people who learn mishnah, matirin lo asara sheyodin likrot b'torah. Get 10 people who know how to read Torah fluently. Lo matzah, if you didn't even find that, matirin lo afilu asara sheinan yodin likrot. You can get a regular 10 people, even if they don't know how to read. Lo matzah bimkoma asara. If you couldn't find 10 Jews in your area, matirin lo afilu shlosha. Then you could have 3. But other than that, you need 10 people. There's a famous Talmid Chacham, Rabbi Yechezkel Landau, the Noda Yehuda. He lived times of the Baal Shem Tov. He had a son, Shmuel, who wrote a sefer called Shivat Zion. And over there he asks a question. He says, I don't understand. We know divrei chalomot lo ma'alin v'lo moridin. Dreams mean nothing. Even in halacha.
Isn't it if you have to dream the same dream 3 times?
No, it doesn't say that. But even in halacha, it says if your father comes to you and tells you that the money that you have in your house is maaser, it's maaser sheni. You have to treat it holy. It's not regular money. You don't believe him. Divrei chalomot lo ma'alin v'lo moridin. So how come over here the dream means something? No. No. In halacha.
Comes and tells you twice.
Huh? Yes. So he says we have a Kabbalah that a dream is 1/60th of Nevuah. So if the dream is coming to tell you about something in the past, your father comes and tells you this money is maaser, that means it happened already. We don't believe that because Nevuah is only about the future. If the Nevuah is about the future over here, someone tells you you're in ostracism, nidui is a message, is a metaphor for puranut, for punishment. So that means that something bad is coming upon you. So in the future, therefore, you have to go take care of it, because it means something bad is coming upon you. That's one answer that he gives. Second answer that he gives, it depends if it's isur or sakana. When it comes to isur, legal laws of forbidden and permitted fruit, if a dream tells you something about isur, you don't listen to it. Why? Because in Isur, in Hilchot Isur, we go after the Rov, after the majority. Majority of money in the world is not Maaser, it's not holy money. So if your father tells you that it's money, Maaser money, you don't have to believe him. Here we're talking about sakana. If you get a dream that someone put you in Nidui, it bodes not well. It means something bad's going to happen to you. So therefore, when it comes to sakana, we don't care about miut. We don't care about majority and minority. Even if you're in the minority, you have to do what you can to take care of sakana. So therefore, even if you're in a dream, you have to find 10 people to be matir. Okay. Halacha Yud Gimel. Misha niduhu befanav. If somebody was put into ostracism in his face, in his presence, ein matirin lo ella befanav. The only way he can get out of it is if he's there. Niduhu shalo befanav. But if he was ostracized not in his presence, matirin lo befanav v'shalo befanav. Then they can lift it whether he's there or whether he's not there. Ve'ein bein nidui lahafara klum. No time has to pass between the time that you put him into ostracism and the time you take him out. Ela menadin umatirin berega echad. You can put him into ostracism, take him out in the same moment. If he returns to tshuva. Now, a couple of halachot back, we said 30 days. So the commentaries say that's for embarrassing a Talmid Chacham. The most extreme nidu, you have to go for 30 days minimum. For other of the 24 reasons, they can put you in, and you say, oh yeah, do tshuva, take you out. Somebody asked about life in nidui. Yeah? If Beit Din sees fit to leave him in nidui for many years, manichin kefir yisho, they can leave him according to his wickedness, however long they want. If Beit Din saw fit to put him right into the more extreme case of cherem, excommunication, they didn't go on the levels of first nidui, then cherem. They went straight to the cherem. And if they see fit to put into excommunication whoever will eat and drink with that guy, or somebody who stands in his space of 4 cubits, 6 feet, Machrimin. Beit Din can do that. Kedei liyasro or kedei la'asot tzag Torah, to punish him and also to make offense for the Torah. Ad shelo yifritzu achotim, so sinners shouldn't go rampant. In other words, Beit Din has the power. It's up to their prerogative, whatever they want. Afal pi. Now that Rambam says the cautionary side. Afal pi sheyesh reshut lechacham lenadot lichvodo. Even though a wise man does have the permission to ostracize people for his honor, eino shevach. It's not praiseworthy for a sage to get himself used to this kind of behavior. He should close his ears to the words of the ignoramuses. Don't put his heart to them. As Shlomo said in his wisdom, don't put your heart to all these things that people talk about you. Not every insult has to be taken seriously. Exactly. Over there he even said more. He said, Hashem amar lo kalel. He took it as like a holy message. But he certainly didn't take it to heart. This is the way of the early pious people. They would hear their disgrace and they wouldn't answer. Not only they wouldn't answer, they would forgive him, they would pardon the person who cursed them. The great sages used to be proud of their own beautiful actions, and they would say, they never ostracized or banned a person for their own honor. For Hashem's honor maybe, but not for their own honor. This is the way of sages that a person should walk in. When should they forgive their own honor? If somebody embarrassed or offended the Talmid Chacham in secret, quietly. But a Torah sage who was embarrassed or disgraced in public, it's forbidden for him to pardon his honor. And if he forgives it, he's punished. That's allowing for the embarrassment of the Torah. Ella, rather, what should he do? He should take revenge. He should hold the grudge like a snake. Till he asks for forgiveness and then forgives him. Why a snake? The commentaries say, if you know, the Gemara says, a snake doesn't bite for its own benefit. It only bites b'shlichut hakadosh baruch hu, as a messenger of God. So this chacham also, if he bites the other person, it shouldn't be for his own honor. It should only be like a snake, for Hashem's honor. And when he asks him for forgiveness, you forgive him. Blessed is Hashem who grants us assistance for finishing Ilchot Talmud Torah. Mazal Tov to all the women.